He already is. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that's this group of people. Okay. Well, let's jump into it, shall we? And then we can have discussion afterwards. I'd love to hear everyone's opinion on this. This play was originally written in 2014. Sorry? Yeah.
I said, really? I only came for the chaos.
Sandy, you're going to do such a good job. You're going to do an incredible job. I'm perfectly well aware of it. We discussed whether or not Sandy would have a sword, because her character will be sword fighting Sherry. So you can poke at her if you want. Yeah, even mightier. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to jump into this thing, and I think you guys will see why I thought you would enjoy it. Act 1, Scene 1, setting. The stage has pieces of tape on the floor to mark where actors will stand and where boxes will be placed for levels. Downstage right, there is a writing desk with paper on it. Upstage left, there is a display collection of weapons, broadswords, foils, etc. There is one empty chair in the audience in the front row and a lighting booth in the back of the audience. A page of script is on the stage somewhere. At Rise, Tech is in his booth, brings down the lights. Director goes on stage without the audience's notice. An awkward silence extends a moment too long.
We wait just a moment too long in the dark. There's the sound of almost silence, a neighbor trying not to fidget, a conversation not quite done. It's a nervous moment, a sexy moment. It's like the moment before a kiss, tense and exciting. Lights come up. One man on stage. We don't get monologues in real life. People almost never let 2 sentences go without interrupting. By the time you finish your point, enough 2 cents get thrown in there that they can cash out in bills. In life, we get no establishing scene, nothing to set. The place, the stage we say, you're watching a play. Here's where you are. There's the people to care about. This is where we're going. Even the stage guides us. If voices came from somewhere else, it would throw everything out of whack.
Pulled focus. Bad. Got it.
Shakespeare. We understand it. All the world's a stage. True enough, but not enough true. If only in life we had a script, cues, lines, motivations, a director. If only an audience. Wouldn't that change everything?
Doesn't matter to me. I'm only a technician.
That doesn't disqualify you from caring. At least it shouldn't.
Tech walks down to the stage, checking the details of everything, puts the blocks in place, and makes sure the lights are working.
Should or shouldn't. The banter amuses you and your audience, but I'm not one for meaning. You say lights come up, I push a button, and the lights come up. I watch this thing too many times for anyone to be amused by it. I get off on pushing that button, making it all work.
You mean come to life?
No, you mean come to life. To you, it's alive. To me, it's a fun, well-oiled machine. You're a dog handler. I'm more a mechanic.
Dog handler, eh? Well, that explains all the bitching.
And the heavy petting.
Please. When everything starts, don't be like, don't attract so much attention.
Because if the audience notices me, then they'll be reminded that they're watching a play. And that's the last thing anyone wants.
I'm not asking much of you. With the little you have to do technically in this show, you could do double duty, even play a character.
So we're set for cues.
Tech goes back to his booth.
Let's try the next one for good measure. Go from bottom to page 3. The lights go out.
Lights go out.
This time, the silence isn't sexy. We're not waiting for the show to start, just for the lovers to get to their places.
The lovers walk out to their taped off places.
Lights come up.
The lights come up.
Sorry, are we early?
Technically, you're right on cue.
Before the performance, we just wanted to go over the last scene.
She wanted to go over it. He wanted to get into it.
Real mature.
Not as adult as you wanted, but
If it's not too much of a hassle.
Thomas and Mary enter with fruit and water bottles and go sit on the blocks.
This isn't sweethearts, but now you have to compete with these two.
Tech does more checks.
Lovers don't do well with others breathing down their necks.
Lovers? Oh, we're not.
for the play.
Greetings, everyone. Hello.
Early or not, everyone better have signed in.
Are you?
We're going through the fight a few more times.
Thanks for coming in. I can't fight myself.
You could, but it'd be a guaranteed tie.
Touché.
Is it okay if we're here?
Have at it. If nothing else, I need to encourage you on stage.
The director exits. The lovers sit upstage for privacy and fold a piece of paper from the desk into a fortune teller. The tech continues inspecting the stage. Sandy, you're going to be eating an apple, and Mary eats an orange.
Should we get in the zone by finding something to fight over?
No. Conflict involves easy emotions.
Easy emotions? You think feelings that take hold of you, that fully possess you, are easy?
What's happening? We started in the same language, but you're switching to Chinese.
Chinese isn't a language. There's a variety of languages spoken in China. You probably mean Mandarin.
You probably need to mind your own business.
Easy. Don't mess with tech. We close the curtains.
That deserves to be remembered.
Tech goes to his booth.
That deserves a lot of things.
And now Nate enters. He opens his arms.
Last to enter, but first to truly leave.
What's that?
The poetry of it. Here's life imitating art, or vice versa. My part will be done before the rest of you. I die at the end of Act 1. I could just leave at intermission, so I don't feel bad for being last on stage.
It's a killer part.
Killed part, friend, killed part. But yes, though it's unplayable too.
You play the unplayable very well.
I mean, we all know what sad is and what angry is. But save Lazarus and Jesus Christ, who can play death from experience? And who has seen someone die? Maybe one audience member out of 1,000? We've all been told by actors how death looks, not by doctors. That makes my last scene easy and impossible, like life. But I digress. Yes, I do digress. They cast me specifically to digress.
Grabs at his chest to foreshadow his inevitable and very real death.
What's wrong?
I seem to have sprained my left side. Nothing major, hopefully. I'll still be able to die well. If I don't, it will completely ruin Act 1.
Goes over to the lovers.
Hello, lovebirds. How goes the passion?
Interrupted. We're working on the ending.
I don't see it, but I'm sure it goes well as long as it connects. And I don't mean if you two connect with each other. I mean if you connect with the audience. Though how you connect to the audience without connecting to each other.
We're trying to work that out.
It won't take long. No, I won't take long at all. I was like you once, the romantic lead, the lover. I'm still like that if they'd cast me for it. I've got a fire inside me that could incinerate the sun. But they think I'm ending, so they cast me with an ending. Imitation, art, life.
Well, if I need an understudy.
Right, I'm it. Or we can switch. You'll be up to die, and I'll be up for love. What would I even do with that with more time?
Director crosses the stage, but is stopped by Horatio.
How is my act coming along?
Well, the banter's good. The introduction's strong, but it's the second act that spirals.
If I wasn't dead, I'd help out, but alas.
Thanks for the offer. It's after you die that worries me. At first, the audience is very forgiving. They want to have a good time. They're still digesting a meal. But by the end of the play, they think you owe them the ending they want. Our play gets the ending it promises, and we better play this play for all it's worth. But the audience also needs to accept it for what it is.
Nah, they do well to be upset. I love a good riot. Theater at its best can be a little protest.
Some of the worst theater I've seen was a protest. I'm glad ours isn't political. Little too existential, sure, but not political. It has that going for it. Now I've guided you as best I can. As long as you die well, we'll be on good footing with our audience.
Die well. Who can die well? In the end, it is always the end. Blackout. Curtains. What is beyond determines if we died, if it is a well-died death. Is there applause and awe, or just the yawn, the silence? I once saw an old lover's grandfather moments after he had died. It was before the funeral director could clean him up. I couldn't look like that. He was so dead, so very dead. He sucked the life right out of the room. Do I dare dream of dying in this manner for the audience? It would kill their idea of death. We do not have the nerve for it. Maybe I do. Act 2, you're on your own. But mercy me, I'm ahead of myself and worn out. I'm going to lie down backstage.
Exits. Tet comes on stage.
Is he always so
Dramatic? He's an actor. Being dramatic is the insanity we demand of them.
I need to see the death scene.
I know what you mean. It gets to me too.
Wow, directing must be exhausting. To put so much effort into completely inventing people's motives. I need to check the lighting. I care about the lighting, not the actors, not deaths. Lighting.
So go get him.
Tech exit. Director crosses, and they're getting ready with their swords.
Didn't they use these swords for that production of Mackers?
Superstitious about Scottish plays, are we? Any other names I can't say? Or is it only
Nah, don't tempt the theater spirits. Acting spaces are all haunted.
Hey, darling pheromone factories, do us a favor. Spread out and tell us how this looks.
They spread out to watch the fight.
I suspect theaters are no more haunted than anywhere else. And by that, I mean not at all. Ready to have a swing at it?
If you are.
Yeah. So this version of the sword fight is gentle, okay? You're just gently sword fighting. Go ahead.
I had a crazy dream last night.
Dreams are all crazy. And you jump.
She jumps.
Then I brandish. This
Brandishes.
dream is crazy because it made a bit of sense.
Nothing's as crazy as trying to make sense of nonsense. And then we connect.
Blades
What
connect.
happened?
Someone put a gun to my head. I'm waiting to die, and I become so curious about what happens next. But as soon as they killed me, I'm not waiting in judgment or to be let in anywhere. I got up and already was in heaven, like we're there the whole time waiting to realize it. And then you slap me.
Tom, so then you slap her.
How does it look?
Looks real.
Really real or just stage real?
Both?
Close enough. Thanks. Then you slap me.
Slaps back.
We should slap for real when the audience gets here.
I don't want to hurt you.
It's fine. I won't hit you hard.
If you do it for real, I'll lose the moment.
If you don't do it for real, there won't be a moment.
If the audience sees me really hit you, they'll be taken out. Instead of worrying about the character, they're worrying about the actor. It's more real for the audience if they know it's fake.
But I hate realizing mid-fight, oh, right, I'm just pretending.
But coming out of character is the best part.
What?
When you bow, you drop character. They applaud. You take it in, pretending it's for you and not for your character. How is that?
Sorry about that. Perfect.
Nothing is perfect, least of all people.
Tell
true.
him. Tell him.
It's true.
Great job.
You're being too nice to be telling the truth. But thanks for trying to be objective.
Is there a part that doesn't feel real?
That's what I'm saying. It isn't. We are acting while we're up here.
But you get lost in character.
I'm not lost. I know exactly where I am.
But you have to let the magic take over.
Do you want us to stay here so you can fight again, or?
Magic. It's science. I make an observation of how body language affects people. I duplicate it on stage, and I reliably get the same reaction from the audience.
Feels good to me. Thanks. Are people that calculated in life?
I try to be. When I was a kid, we had this family friend with severe liver disease. He passed away by the time I was 15. He used to say, I know how to make people think I'm doing much better or much worse than I really am. And he was good at it. He kept us from worrying or tricked us into worrying too much, depending on what he wanted.
It shouldn't be fake.
Certainly it isn't real. People want to be tricked.
It's real to me.
That's one person's opinion.
But it isn't one person anymore. All the characters I've played are still in here. If they're not real, neither am I. Acting isn't a trick. It's a presentation. Watch this.
Very long and awkward beat.
That, my friend, is silence. It isn't the illusion of silence. It is silence. It's like how this play ends.
With blackout,
What? It ends with a kiss.
the lights go down before they kiss.
But the only way to make it look like they're just about to kiss is by leaning in to actually kiss. Lights are on, lights are off, they kiss, the play is real.
Clearly, we haven't been in the same play. I thought people are showing up for what happens on stage with the lights on. You feel people are showing up to guess what happens backstage in the dark. How was the show you saw? It was amazing. You have no idea what we didn't see. Join me backstage? I mean, it is where you think everything interesting happens, right?
They leave. Lovers take center stage.
Sorry. Baby's
Juliet's a
crying.
mom. Romeo, run.
Much baggage. Sorry, what page are we on?
Bottom of 17. Bottom of 17. And for those just joining us, we're reading the play.
Finally.
Juliet has to attend to her baby.
She
Then
is
we
also
look-
the nurse.
Then we look
Sorry, go ahead.
longingly at each other and lean into kissed just as the lights go down. From the top?
It's better now, much better. I can really feel it.
Yeah, me too.
They pull
So,
out of the almost kiss. Go ahead.
what are your plans after the show?
Probably the usual. Say hi to whoever came out for the show, then off to the pub with the rest of the cast. You?
About the same. But I was hoping to do something in between.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Something. Anything, really. Whatever you want. If you want to join me.
Yeah, that sounds lovely.
It does?
And to be clear,
Absolutely. Clear.
what's clear?
Oh, I thought you wanted to make yourself clear.
No, I want
Right, right,
you.
right.
Do you?
Well, I was wondering, my
Oh,
fault.
sorry.
Um,
You.
no, you.
No, I'm dying to know.
Well, I know there's something called a stage crush, showmance, but it's a stage crush. It's a real crush. It's whatever it is. I want to go there. I want there to be something more here, more than what happens on stage and in this theater. I probably should have waited until after the show because if you say no, this is terribly awkward. But I don't think I'm alone in this. I don't think the chemistry is just for the show. I think it's real. That you want me as much as that you want as much as me to get out of here and for this to keep going, to still exist in a week from now, in the tingle of right now. What do you say? Clear enough?
Yeah, that's nice and clear. And I'd love to. I think it was pretty obvious, but if we're making everything formal, nothing would make me happier. You've made the whole thing worth so much more to me. I don't want that to stop. That's why we're here now, isn't it?
In this play?
No, that's why we're working on the scene. We're fine for the show. It's that we want to practice at this, at being something.
Yeah, I guess it is. Never mind.
What?
I wrote you a poem.
A poem? Can I read it?
You want to?
Do you have it?
I have to find it. I thought that if I were too keen, I'd snuff this out, that it'd never be real. But it is real.
I hope so. What's the poem about?
It's about us not acting, but that love would make its way off stage.
I can't wait to hear it.
I'll go and find it before we warm up. It will be a warm up for us as lovers.
After a long look, they leave in opposite directions. Tech and a costumed Nate enter together.
Show me.
The whole monologue, or just where I stand.
I don't care so much about the play than you. I care so much less about the play than you people believe. Do you know what I care about? Cues. I'm a sucker for a good cue and a well-timed light. Do whatever you want, but I only need you to show me where you stand.
The time is short, and even now, running out on us. It is too much. Too much. Too much. Too ready to burst. And what will it burst with? I am dead. I can see it. Darkness. I can hear it. Silence. I know it's there. Nothing. Dreadful. Dreadful. Nothing. I slip away. I slip.
All right, that's good. Great. Thank you.
But
Thank you.
I was about to die.
Yeah, and
You said you didn't care.
I don't.
You're a walking contradiction.
And that's why I sit down so much.
You're trying to be funny.
Wrong. I'm being clever.
May I die already?
So impatient.
I've been rehearsing long enough.
We've all been practicing dying since birth. Is this page of script yours?
A single page of it?
Yeah, I found it while doing my last few checks.
Is it for this play?
It's for page 13.
Page 13 of what? Is it or is it not the play we are performing?
How would I know?
You could look. Stop pretending it's unknowable and find an answer.
It's for within a play.
You're trying to be funny again. I have no patience left for you trying to be meta or clever.
The play you're all performing is trying so hard to be meta and clever, and you seem to like that absurdity well enough.
Yes, but when I die, it isn't played for laughs. I'm the dramatic center.
And I'm the only one here that doesn't think they're special.
Director
Could you
Andrews?
teach this Crichton some respect for our craft?
You're the one who hates plays about plays while performing one.
I don't perform for cheap laughs.
Plays about plays are wonderful, though sometimes they can be
Too much like plays?
a little too self-aware and pedantic.
The word pedantic is pedantic. What the? This is in the script.
What is?
Please, one play at a time.
But I found a page of a script. We're characters in it, and what we're saying right now is dialogue in it.
Grabs at his chest to foreshadow his inevitable and very real death.
Stop it!
It's not my fault.
Sweet nothing. What's on this silly page there that's causing this drama?
I'm just a messenger
Messenger of what?
of this.
Read script.
A little too self-aware and pedantic. The word pedantic is pedantic. What the? Then I look at the script. This is in the script. The lovers enter and catch eyes with longing. What is? Please, one play at a time. But I found a page of a script and we're characters in it. And what we're saying right now is dialogue in it. Grabbing at his chest to foreshadow his inevitable and very real death. Stop it. It's not my fault. Sweet nothing. What's on that silly page causing this drama? I'm just a messenger. Messenger of what? Of this. Read script.
It's an
Impressive party trick.
but that's
But
all it
that's
is.
all it is.
How are you
How are you
doing
doing
this?
this?
Well, what else? I'm still not convinced.
It just ends there.
Ends where?
Well, what else? I'm still not convinced. It just ends there. Ends where? That's it. That's the end of the page.
This can't be.
Can or can't? It is. We are right now within a play. What a marvel.
Marvel, it's a monstrosity. I'm not sold on this for one moment.
There's an easy way to settle this. Who wrote the damn thing? Come on. It can't be without an author.
Well, I'm already bored.
Bored?
Calm down, everyone. Don't jump to conclusions. This has nothing to do with fate or foreknowledge. It's a clever party trick. I've seen this before.
You have not.
I have.
You've never seen anything so incredible.
And you're the first one to mention fate and foreknowledge.
But now that they're on the table,
Does any of this matter? Not a word of that script changes anything about our play or what any of us are doing. We're going to move along. Once the audience gets here, they won't want to have us just debate this thing all night. That would be a terrible play.
But what does this mean for everything, for life? We are scripted. There's a play. We're a part of it.
but what would that mean for what we choose?
And who's the director? Or did God write that page?
Enough. In this world, the director is God, and he hasn't weighed in yet. So here's God's verdict. Of course you have free will. I can't force you to do anything or even keep to the script. I try to force you, but I can't make you do it. If there's a perfect script, you'd all assume you had a better interpretation. So written out or improvised, fate or free will, again, it makes no difference.
It makes a difference to me.
It proves that God.
The only God it proves is Loki. And he's standing right there. I'll be backstage till you come to your senses.
You can't stand this because it's too much to fit into your mind.
My brain isn't the problem. I'm simply refusing to make this an issue. Nothing's proven. We witnessed maybe a freak accident, a coincidence, but more likely an impressive trick. Either way, it's nothing to change your life over.
What do you think? You haven't said a word yet.
He's wrong. It is something to change your life over. It said that I grabbed at my chest to foreshadow my inevitable and very real death. What if everything stopped being this fun, fanciful, fantastic little story of coincidence? It predicts death. What if no backstage chatter, no wings where I'm alive? It's just real death waiting.
I know you're getting older, but is right before warm-ups the time to worry about death?
I'm at an age where I can worry about nearly anything at any time. I'm tired. I'm going to lie down.
Well, everyone take 5, take 10, take whatever long you bloody well need.
That was amazing. Absolutely fantastic.
It sure was something.
You're afraid?
It did many things to me, but I'm not scared. I have concerns. I'm connecting the dots.
That's disappointing. I thought I'd be too much of a distraction.
But that's exactly what's wrong.
This can only be good news. We're meant to be together.
But it didn't just say that we exist or that we looked at each other. It said
that we looked with longing.
Right. Longing isn't a blocking direction. It's a feeling. Our feelings are scripted. That page knew about us before we announced it to the cast. Maybe it knew before we did.
That's okay. Love is written into many plays, and it's no less true for being there. We uphold love that's written well. We call it a truer form of love. So let's say that now. It's not false. It's truer than anything we've ever felt.
I want to call it that, but how do I trust what I want? We're written as lovers, so of course, we want each other. We make promises. We exchange poems written too early, with promises that aren't lasting. We make monologues about love, but the words don't make love true. Only time will say if there's truth in love. But time has been in minutes, not hours. Oh no, that sounded like a line.
When I was writing my poem, I had that same thought, but it made me happy.
Happy? Happiness? Love? Want? It isn't something from inside of us. It's coming from a page. Can real love exist without choice?
What do you want me to say? I wish I had a response memorized, but this isn't scripted. I don't have some clever, well-written assurance to undo all that you think is done. All I have is my love and all that comes with it.
And no one wants more for that to be enough than I do. But it can't be.
It can be whatever we make it out to be. It is up to us if it is enough. Would you like to hear my poem?
No.
But I thought...
Don't you see? There is no poem. The poem is just a prop.
A prop? It isn't a prop. I wrote it.
And how will I ever know that?
I could read it for you.
That will be no better. How often does an actor pretend to read what he has already memorized, and he's not truly reading, nor did he truly write it? Oh no, there's even worse.
What could be worse than to claim you do not know your own love?
What is worse is that I cannot even read the poem for myself because I might be an actor too. Or what is even worse, you are a prop and I am a prop and we're not even actors.
Not good actors.
I'm going backstage.
But the poem was supposed to be our...
What would be the point?
This is because of you. Why did you do this?
Do I look like a writer? I don't poem, and my prose are positively dreadful.
But you ruined everything with that script.
You actors don't understand real life, do you? All right, I'll spell it out as a play. If this were a Midsummer Night's Dream, the stage would be the forest, and you're one of the lovers, and me, I'm not William Shakespeare. I'm Puck. I make things happen. I push a button. I'm a ministering angel, not God.
Wait, if you're Puck or an angel, then...
Stop! Can't someone speak metaphorically without accusations of being what they compared themselves to? No, I'm not an angel. No, I'm not a furry. I am a man.
Whatever you are, whatever this is, help. That page has, I don't know. How do I convince her that our love means something?
Here's the thing, sport. I don't know if it does. And at the end of the play, as the lights go out, you probably think that because you're leaning in to kiss, you do, right? But I don't know if you do. I don't care if you do. And if it was so important to you that you did, then I don't think it would happen in the dark. So your love is worth nothing to me. It may not be worth anything to the one you love. So maybe you should ask if your love has any value to yourself.
I'll prove to her that it has value by I don't know, I'll change something. I'll move beyond whatever's written on that page you found. How do I get out of this play and off this stage? Or please help.
What you're looking to do is break the fourth wall.
What?
You call yourself an actor? To break?
Yeah, the fourth wall. How could this help me now?
If you could break the fourth wall, and I don't mean grin like an idiot, hi audience, isn't this clever? I mean actually break it, then maybe you'd get out of this play, if that's what we're in.
So
the stage is obviously part of the play.
What about the audience?
The audience looks empty. It feels empty, and aside from the seat I'm in, it is empty. If there's an audience to this, they're not in these chairs. So no breaking the fourth wall here.
I'll leave this theater, quit being an actor, and live a normal life. That could work. Maybe that'll get me through the fourth wall.
Nope. All that would happen is a delicious scene change. And if you're not an actor, even better. Most plays aren't about actors. You can't stop yourself from being in a play if you've been written into one. Just be thankful.
Thankful for what?
You seem well cast and your dialogue's good. If this is a play, you're bearable enough character. Look at me. But for the grace of the author goes you.
Wait. What was that last bit?
But for the grace of the author goes you.
Before that.
Look at me.
No, before that.
Here's the thing, sport.
After that.
Hi, audience. Isn't this clever?
After that.
You seem well.
Yes.
You seem well cast and your dialogue is good.
That right there. How could you possibly know I'm well written? Because if we're both in a play, then that means...
It doesn't mean anything.
How in the hell can you possibly know I'm well written if you're also written?
I'm only going to say this once. It does not, I repeat, does not matter how we justify these ridiculous lines. For all we know, everything we're saying is coherent only to us, and the supposed author of this supposed play is out to lunch, and his cat is walking across the keyboard as we speak. Stop trying to understand this.
Is that all you have for me?
I could insult you some more if you'd like. I have that for you.
Nah, I'll go.
Fair enough, but I might insult you while you're gone, too.
Fair enough.
One more time.
Certainly.
Personal question. Would you perform this play if only 10 people were to show up?
Yes, though that's hardly a personal question.
But would you perform your part if only 5 people showed up?
Still, for the sake of the 5, I would.
Forgive my boldness. I know I'm only dust and ashes, but what if only one person showed up? Would you perform it then?
I'm a professional. Even for one person, I would perform it. But none of these questions are in the least bit personal.
It will be very personal. What if no one shows up and the seats are as empty as they are now? What then?
Then and only then would I not perform. Without an audience, I would only be performing for my own vanity.
My heart doesn't see you as either vain or a liar.
Naturally.
But either you're a liar or you don't even believe yourself. We found a page of our play. You say there's no audience, yet you continue on. How can you do that if you're not within a play? Only for your vanity? You're not vain. You believe we're in a play.
Then I'm vain. That's fine. I still refuse to believe you. And they don't kiss in the end. That isn't written anywhere. Not in the play we're performing and not on that page, one-page monstrosity.
They kiss. Refusing to believe is not having no belief.
You're making a fancy argument. But a thing either is or it isn't. And this isn't. There's that magic trick where someone says they'll read your mind. My ex's nephew was obsessed with it. He'd ask you to think of a country, a color, an animal. You think you're picking for yourself, but all along he's influenced you. So that you said orange, kangaroo, Australia. We didn't find a book. It was a couple of coincidences. One page.
One page is all it takes.
For you, yes, but not for me.
And what about Oh, sorry.
What about another page?
You found another page?
Nope.
But please, let us know if you do.
Listen to me. That idiot isn't a prophet. We're not performing in a play. How many times do you think he tried this before? Where he had a prediction, but when we said something different from his page, he simply didn't pretend to find it. Don't let him make you into the fool he is. We're actors, on-stage people. Don't let this backstage baboon win.
Actors.
Do you believe I'm gullible?
I believe that you don't want to have this conversation with me.
But you believe in something.
Sweetie, I neither know why the lines are there, nor do I care what they mean. I just follow along, and you should do the same.
But I won't just follow along.
And yet you think you're following a script?
Stop. I want to talk to you about what you found.
We've exhausted every conversation about that thing. I don't care about our play. Why would I have an interest in a hypothetical one?
Because you're in this thing too? Please. I don't even need to hear your opinion. Just let me share my assurance with you.
Oh, fatalism is fun now. If I scheduled to torture you, you wouldn't be sad about the torture. You'd be happy about the schedule.
But someone cares enough to write about us, and there's an audience somewhere.
But you're already wrong. This might only be a table read, and we can't say that the author, or if there is an author, cares one lick about us. Maybe the author is writing out of spite or boredom.
Plays and boredom are made for each other.
But in the corner of the page, there's the number 13. So we know that it began only a bit before the page we found.
or the number is there to create the illusion of its placement in a page, Alex O'Connor. Or if the 13 isn't the literal page number, it's just a symbolic for being unlucky, and that's a curse.
Two contradictory interpretations from a director? I would never.
Please.
Well, you were so keen to have this conversation. Why not have it with someone that might beat you at it?
I know when to take my exit. No, maybe we can only assume, but that's it. Who's the lead? Who's supporting? Is it an ensemble? We feel like the leads in our own story, but how is it in this play? It's the questions and not the answers that are exciting. Do you want to take that away?
I don't want to take anything away from you. I'm figuring it out myself. But you have to have priorities. People get married and divorced, have children and die. But real theater people know how to keep all that life and death, joy and oblivion off stage, unless it helps with the performance. Priorities. Tech?
Yep.
Cast, call the cast. It's time for warm-up.
Hey, cast, come on out.
Would you please just read my poem?
I still haven't decided what to do with it.
Read it and decide after.
I can't do that. Don't you see? The order for lovers is reversed. They love first, then they learn about the other. And when asked why they love, they list what they learned later. There is no truth in that. I can only truly see what I love about you if I look without love towards you, and then see if I love those things separate from my own love. And only after that separation is both are truly love, let them blend back together again.
What? No. Love can't be removed from the lover. Otherwise, they would just be Love is who we are. We can't turn away from that. Love is what makes flaws forgivable and life livable. You might as well extract the oxygen from the air and analyze it thus, or drain the blood from a man and analyze him thus, and then tell me what you will have thus. But all you'll be left with is a dead man and smoke.
I still can't read your poem.
No,
I can't. I won't.
No, you can, but you have to get over yourself first to do it.
But that's what's in the way of everything we do. And it's exactly who you accept if you truly love me.
Are you willing to talk about it now?
You still aren't.
Was I the one refusing to have a conversation about it?
I have no patience to not talk about it. Storytelling isn't talking. Jumping to conclusions isn't talking. You want to talk? Let's talk. I'd love that.
You could have fooled me.
You are so open to being fooled that anyone could. You don't want to discuss, you want to preach.
I've come for warm-up, and much needed it is. I'm as cold as a corpse. My heart is pumping ice.
It isn't a virtue to close your heart.
It isn't logical to label coincidences as facts. I don't.
Well, I do.
It doesn't seem worth it, does it?
If it were a good part or a good play, it would be. And it'd be worth it to be part of something more. And the poetry of it, imitation, art, life. If it isn't for something more, then it's just haunting nothing. That would be enough to kill you.
If only it was more than imitation.
The time is short, and even now running out on us. It is too much. Too much. Too much. Too ready to burst.
All right, not another word about that blasted script. After this, we'll break and you can talk about it then. Now look at me. Pay attention. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow
leather, red leather,
red leather, yellow leather.
Yellow leather.
Ah, The big black bug bit the big black bear, and the big black bear bled blood. Ready? All of us. The big,
big
black
black
bug
bear
bit
The
the
big
big
black
black
bear, and big
and the
black
big
bear
black
bled
bear
blood.
bled
blood.
The hearse with the curse will burst. Ready? The
The
hearse
hearse
with the
hearse
curse
will
will
burst.
burst.
First,
The
The
hearse
hearse with the
Burst.
curse
will
will
burst.
burst.
first. And what would burst with? I'm dead. I can see it. Darkness. I can hear it. Silence. I know it's there. Nothing. Dreadful. Dreadful. Nothing. I slip away. I slip.
That's the end of
You're
Act
muted,
1. Play
David.
branding.
Oh no. Okay. So he dies for real. Luke, you catch him. Blackout. End of Act 1. Shall we continue on? Is that good? Awesome. Okay. Act 2, Scene 1. Setting, the same. At Rise, Tech is in his booth, brings down the lights. Director goes on stage without the audience notice. An awkward silence extends a moment too long.
We return to darkness. None of us are in a light forever. The curtains are ready to cover us, like a burial shroud. But will we bow when it's finished? The lights come up.
Lights come up.
Then come for a moment, but never forever.
Well, fearless leader, the audience will be here soon. What now?
We wait for someone with some actual credentials to tell us if he's, well, in the meantime, I know the part well enough to play it, so I suppose I could take over. But let's see what will happen at the end of the act.
You're not thinking,
One does have to wonder.
I don't have to do anything, least of all wonder.
Are you all right?
No, I'm not. Not since that page.
Could I?
No, I can't. I just can't.
But
What if our friend dies?
Then I'll call off the show.
He's all right.
You have word from the paramedics?
I have a higher authority.
That being,
Takes out the page of script.
Please no.
Quote, grabbing at his chest to foreshadow, end quote. I'm saying what we all feel, but only some are willing to express. He's not dead. He's backstage right now waiting for this play to end. There is no death.
Will you?
I'll try. There is only death. Life is a mistake, Alex O'Connor. Look around. Most things are never alive, always dead, and we're heading to no longer be an exception. If you wait long enough, death is all there will be.
You don't believe that. Look at the way you're acting.
I believe in death enough to feel you're missing something. Should we wonder? Sure, but we shouldn't stop in our tracks.
At least you admit we're on tracks. You're just scared.
Am I the one needing magic?
You're terrified that we're actors in this.
I already chose to be an actor. Why would that scare me?
If we're in a play, then there's an audience somewhere judging us, thinking we're good or bad. The script is a standard that you might not be meeting. It creates terror, stage fright. It made a prediction. It's more than one page now. Whatever this is, it can't be a trick.
Then it's a coincidence.
No, it isn't.
Why not? How many pages are no doubt written while stirring alphabet soup? They're all simply been eaten before analyzed, and good riddance.
That's crazy. You wouldn't believe it was important even if every spoonful of soup had a message for you?
If my soup gave me messages, then the message would be that I'm out of my mind. Thinking you're crazy can be a sensible thing to think. You'd have to be insane to listen to a soup essay, and you're insane to think we're the creation of some author. That page is an accident or a trick, or we're crazy. We're anything but in a play.
We are at least within a play.
Okay, why are you talking to us?
So you'll listen to your hearts.
To convince us that we're scripted.
Yes.
So right now, you're part of this play?
Definitely.
So this is dialogue. I'm scripted too.
You are.
So then I'm written to disagree with you by your beloved author, which means you can't convince me. So again, why are you talking to us?
Damn it. You're hopeless. I'll find someone who foresees this as good news. We cannot die. He is only off stage until curtain call.
Have it your way then. Quote, to foreshadow his inevitable and very real death. End quote. Even your own nonsense says real death. Real death.
No, he cannot die. He's only off stage until curtain call. We'll see. You'll be there bowing like the rest of us, and you'll like it. He cannot die. He's off stage waiting.
He's waiting for a director to declare him dead or alive, not for applause. I'm going to check how he's doing myself.
So death, huh?
Maybe.
Yep. Can I go now?
Absolutely not. I'm here to motivate everyone. If we give up, then there's no chance.
Admit it. We're done.
Over my dead body.
Which part are you filling in for again?
So,
So,
what's your favorite play?
I went to a tech rehearsal once where the actors weren't invited, so it was just lighting and sound cues. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen.
I meant with actors.
Not too long ago, I stumbled into a play 2 hours before it started. The whole cast was bickering and descending into madness. The play was shit, but the madness was wonderful.
My favorite play is probably Waiting for Godot because of how it affects the audience.
So other people made it seem worthwhile.
The beginning and the ending shake them up so hard.
I had to read the first half of it for English class once.
And how did it make you feel?
Feel? It was fine. No idea why it wasn't assigned the second act.
It has a lot of deliberate repetition. The point of deliberate repetition in the themes and deliberate repetition of lines, it's to say something about the nature of life itself, that life is deliberate repetition. From day to day, we put on the same effort, the same trudge, over and over again. It's true. The audience doesn't always find deliberate repetition compelling, but when the play repeats, some of them tune out.
What?
It has a lot of deliberate repetition. The point of deliberate repetition in the theme and deliberate repetition in line, it's to say something about the nature of life itself. That life is deliberate repetition. From day to day, we put on the same effort, the same trudge, over and over again. It's true. The audience doesn't always find deliberate repetition compelling. When the play repeats, some of them tune out.
I'm glad I only know the beginning.
Never say that about a play. A play is about how it ends. Everything comes together or falls apart or reveals itself for what it is at the end. A play with a bad ending is a bad play, even if it was a good play before the bad ending.
At least the second act has the decency to be shorter, and after a nap, too.
It's so your audience can stretch their legs and regain their patience.
After my own heart.
A cocktail and some nicotine also doesn't hurt. They need to be in the best mood possible. Most plays have an ending hardly worth watching.
Hey, we agree on something.
You're saying it to poo-poo. I simply have standards.
Do you blindly love every play?
Sadly, I find most of them only average.
As you should. It's nothing to be sad about.
I wish they were all exceptional.
But most plays must be average, just as the average person is normal. People hate those odds, but the odds are they're normal, and the play they're watching is only average.
You're probably right.
Statistically, I must be.
Then I hope I direct an absolute failure. So the one after would be a roaring success. If I'm average, I'd still like something exceptional at the end of my career's second act.
The ending's the thing.
It is.
Then I'm pleased as punch. Our play is about a lighting cue.
What?
That's how it ends, on a very important lighting cue.
No, the writer is merely using lighting to...
Finally give me the recognition I deserve.
But it's not about that. It's...
Well?
Ask me when it's over. Ask me if it ever really starts.
I don't care if you believe. I'm in agony. Just pretend. How would you break the fourth wall?
This is your problem? Someone may have just died in your arms.
Would you want to be alone right now?
We're always alone. You'd be better off drinking the pain away.
I tried that already. Didn't work.
You must have been doing it wrong. Where did you put the liquid?
We're in a theater. I opened a bottle, drank the contents, but turns out I was trying to get drunk off of lukewarm iced tea. That sobered me up. I realized drinking is acting, an agreed excuse. I didn't mean that. I was drunk. No, that's who you are and what you think. You're only pretending. Otherwise, when acting sober.
It's chemical, not philosophical. It's a medication to make the act of living bearable.
I thought you said you weren't acting.
Then the accident of living. And about the girl, I'd say give up.
I need at least some excuse, some...
Give up. You're love drunk. If you're trying to think sober-minded, then...
I won't. Neither of us are making sense, but here we are. Help me, please. We've barely begun, and this nightmare is tearing us apart.
No us. We suffer alone. We die alone. You caught our friend as he died, but he's too dead to know that. Makes no difference to him. You think she'll change that for you?
There's more than that inside of you.
There's experience with the inevitable. I know about probability and patterns, be it about death or divorce. Do you know how fighting works?
Well enough.
Look, you can love being simple or actually listen. Believe.
Fine. Let's hear it.
Did you have a good first fight?
I don't want to fight at all.
That doesn't happen. Not in any love I've observed, lasting or otherwise. And belief has never spared anyone for even 1 millisecond from...
But I was hoping...
If you want my help, then I'm asserting that the pattern starts in your first fight. Every other fight is a rehash. We aren't objective enough to see that every time we fight, someone says it's the same as the time before. Nothing's resolved until you see that pattern, the rule. It's like owing. Discover every debt, pay it to the last penny, because you never escape the owing. We want to be exceptions to the rule. No one wants to learn the rule itself. Well, I learn the rules for everything. There are even rules in plays and stories. So do you want to get past? Find out what you're owing. Steer into that skid. Stop pretending the skid doesn't exist. That's how accidents happen. That's how I learned.
Ha, ha, ha. How can you say that? Like accidents are an exception when now you believe everything is an accident or a trick?
Ignore her. Test it out.
Hello.
Hi.
How are...
Did you?
Oh, my fault.
Sorry.
How are you?
I am.
Me too, for now.
Do I owe you something?
You owe me nothing.
It feels like something.
You said our feelings and ourselves are what we need to get over.
What can we do?
Nothing. We're star-crossed lovers.
Yeah, we're written in the stars.
What? Star-crossed is bad. Just because stars are involved doesn't... We don't get what we want, no matter how much we want it.
What do I say?
Something that isn't that. You are still too convinced that stupid piece of paper should be our new Bible?
Maybe it should be. Who would you even call to arrange that?
Pathetic little Bible it would make.
But it deserves to be there.
If only there was a cure.
It's all coincidence.
It's a blueprint within what it built.
We could still make.
It's impossible to win the lottery, technically. I mean, the odds are so dismal. It's as good as impossible. But all the time, someone wins it. There seems no right or logic, but it happens. We're gambling right now. Everything is impossible if you actually think about it.
Is there even a chance that...
This is an accident against accidents. I'm not amazed because of how confusing it is, but because it makes sense.
That does make sense.
A mountain could be an accident, but a painting of a mountain, never.
Haven't you heard? 1 million chimpanzees on typewriters would write a Shakespeare play if you gave them enough time. And the page we found, a chimp could turn that crap out in a weekend.
So you believe in Shakespeare, even if the job could be done by monkeys?
Apes. They're apes, not monkeys. Chimps are apes, just like us.
I see that now.
And why did our friend die? Do you see that?
He didn't die.
What if he did?
Then it was for us, so that we could take this seriously.
People really die. I'm not bitter about that. Do you know why? Because there's no one to blame. If there's anyone to be held responsible, then it's fine if our friend died for no good reason. Because there's no good reason to die. But if he died for any reason, then there's no goodness at all, and all death is actually murder.
So you got rid of bitterness, and it only cost all your joy.
None of these arguments are helping anyone.
There's a pattern, too.
I loved him once.
You still do, but no story worth telling has love being easy.
You seem to know a lot about this.
I'm trying.
But what can we know? We're idiots in respect to a piece of paper. Why is being scripted so good to you?
Why is it so bad to you?
But what could a relationship mean if we're actors in a play?
It would intensify things.
No, it diminishes them.
Honey, have you ever been in a play? I've had better friends in plays than I have in life. The problem is, months or years after the performances, you see someone from that play and it isn't the same. You need the play going on for it to be what it is. You end up reminiscing because life outside a play is barely even alive.
But if we're in a play and it's about to end, and we all bow out and die with our parts done, then we'll be so much less to each other. There's no reason to love.
It won't listen to your arguments. Our hearts do what they do, with or without your permission.
Why do we love so willingly in the shadow of this dying world?
The play is ending, not dying.
It's paralyzing, is what it is.
Paralyzing? We're not written to stay still. Act, move, choose, believe. You loved him because you can't stay still. It's a cyclone. Your choice is what winds to catch up. Your choice is what wins to catch in your sails. You'll be torn apart if you don't catch something. Maybe you're headed for the rocks. Maybe you're exactly on course. If you're questioning it, fine, but move like you don't doubt. That's the only way forward.
It's easy for you to say you don't.
It isn't easy for me. You don't know how much pain I have. You think I'm immune to tragedy? I'm not. I was no less present when our friend collapsed. But you always choose something. Refusing to choose destroys you just as harshly as the wrong choice. Happy ending, tragedy. The only choice you don't have is not to choose. Though why you choose misery, I don't understand. You seem to have changed for the worse.
He's not getting any better. I don't know if I have any positivity left.
Then I'll leave you two to share your misery.
You were so happy before.
That's why I'm sad. I had something that could be taken away.
It's all ruined, isn't it? It isn't fun anymore. I thought we were here for comedy, swords fights, romance, not this. My word, this has gotten bleak.
What do we do?
We could start telling more jokes, but no, that won't make anything better. I'm not in a mood for it now. Should I have called the show off the moment we fell? Here I am, refusing to let it go, to let it be over, dragging it out. I thought maybe theater, art could make tragedy bearable. Certainly doesn't make it any less inevitable. The audience is not going to be happy with this.
They shouldn't be surprised. It's the world we live in.
I suppose we have to keep living in it. The problem is people are coming here to have a good time, to laugh, to forget, not to come face to face with this. What do I say? It's killing me.
It's killing all of us. All of us have to choose something. I'm still here.
Oh, so you are. Didn't know you were there or anywhere. Really, I'm surprised you're still alive.
Time is short enough. Why should mine be shortened?
I'm just surprised someone hasn't taken it upon themselves to find out what happens once this play is over. Curiosity can so easily get the best of us.
You're so profane. You'll joke about this?
My tone is the same on all topics, and I'm not joking.
Mocking, then.
I ridicule the ridiculous.
Life and death aren't a joke.
Yes, these questions are so important you might kill yourself to find the answer. Or no, you're saying it's not that serious.
I didn't...
Yes, you take death very seriously, but you haven't, even mentioned the effect one of the actors being dead would have on you?
I was...
I know, you're very busy trying to figure out if you can somehow find the will to like a boy.
Why do you bother me?
For the same reason you let me. Even if it's only negativity and bitterness, if it's shared, then it's still a connection. Do you know that anyone would go insane if they were merely left alone for long enough? Maddening fact, that is. Grave times like these, best not to be alone. But enough with the company of, are they living? I'm off to check on, are they dead?
He might be right about the last bit. Maybe it's no time to be alone.
Or we're all alone and there's no company to be had.
What?
Think about it. I won't explain it if you don't at least consider it.
You want to be alone?
Of course not. But that doesn't change that I am. The comfort's in knowing, even if it's in knowing we're alone.
Then why do I hate wanting to be alone? If we're from nothing and for nothing, you'd think we'd be used to it.
Yet you're swaying towards isolation too.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Wait, let me explain to you how we know we are all alone.
You only want to explain it to me because by me being there, you'll feel less alone. I won't help you lie to yourself. I won't lie to myself anymore either. Have another monologue if you want, but I know what I have to do. I've made my decision.
Now I really am alone.
Have you found a good way to kill time?
Oh, I'm reading that page over again.
Saying anything special this time around?
It's not what it says, it's what it implies. Excuse me. Last time, did you make a copy?
Wait, no, this one's mine.
This one is yours too, even if it's only a small part. Is that page about this one?
It's about my feelings, or how I felt. Do you want to read it?
No.
You're reading that
This one's different
because you care about the author?
because this one's real.
You haven't even read mine. It's as real as yours. It might even be more real.
Has it happened?
On paper,
It isn't real.
one piece of paper isn't more real than another.
These words came out of mouths. If words stay on pages, then they're separate from us, living in some paper world, because this one's real. If our lives don't match this script now, if what's inside doesn't come out, then we're hypocrites. Once words really happen, even if you have a small part, you're part of something bigger, something real.
This is something bigger. Read it.
Say it or it isn't real. It's nothing if it doesn't happen.
That's my only copy. What did I do? What if I did that to yours?
It's more important that it happened.
You're all shredding me and calling it surgery. Was I against you? What does your belief do? You think your audience right now is cheering? You only know the truth in a way that annihilates. There are words as lovely as true. You're always on about characters living inside of you. This here isn't a character you want inside. Not without something redemptive. I'm done. I'm getting rid of this costume.
Please don't do that. That's your costume.
Until I take it off.
That costume looks too much like the actor.
Oh. Is this what a hypocrite would wear?
Why so harsh?
We're hypocrites. Ironic frauds, liars, cheats. Cheat out. That's what you say. Dig deep. Hollow yourself out. And what's left? Hollowness. We're barely more than costumes.
If you're worried that's all you are, be more of a method actor. It's all real to them.
I'm throwing this costume away. I need out of here. Maybe I'm still in character because I'm in costume. Nothing's as alive as it is here. Maybe that's how I'll break the fourth wall.
Wait.
For what? Someone else in the cast has already left his costume behind. Dead or not, at least he's out of this now.
Left the theater of this existence, taken off the costume of his body. We can't know that yet.
And until then, we're just killing time instead of killing ourselves.
Please, I'm begging you, stay in your costume. I'll let you know when I make a decision. Wow.
What now? That script is finished.
And thank God for that. But that's not what's interesting. It's this bit of poem. It's really good. It's true. Too bad we weren't performing this instead.
You think?
It'd be better than this mess. Just wait backstage. We'll know what we're doing soon. Go over your lines again.
Well, I'll be the one to say it.
Please don't.
He's dead.
Are you sure?
He said it himself. Nearly his last words were, "I am dead." And he hasn't said anything to contradict that. You're waiting for someone else's opinion when you already know. There's no recovery.
Why did I humor this? I can't just fill in for him. Audiences know when we're watching an understudy. They reek of replacement, like a stepfather. I'm saying to myself, carry on. It's what he's always wanted. But is it coincidence that I'm saying what he'd want me to be in denial?
House opens in a few minutes. Gotta land on something.
It's worse than I took so long. The shock of death. It's hidden. Before dealing with death, I have to first remember, oh yeah, death is a thing. Only when the shock fades do we contend with what our destiny is, and only the wisest are able to embrace it. Shakespeare, he said,
I know. Oh, the world's a stage.
true enough.
But not enough true.
It's the wings and the audience that concerns me most now. How will I get the audience's forgiveness?
You could yell fire. That'd get them out pretty quick.
It's not allowed. Plus, then they'll leave. But they still wouldn't forgive me.
You could ask them for it.
Sorry for all that mess. It'd be better if we just fool them into thinking that it's all an act. Is it? Is he? Back there? Waiting to bow?
Can't know till the play's over. The ending's the thing.
What a questionable ending it is.
Cheer up. He died doing what he loved. Dying.
Dying. Destiny is pretty heavy-handed sometimes. Is this about our friend's destiny? Barely feels like it's about any of us. It's about the writer. Writers are the ones that make these scripts, and they live 2 feet up from their own asses. They're probably trying to say something profound.
No matter, Judge.
I'm trying to explain this to give motivation. I don't understand it well enough to motivate anyone. I'm trying to be brave by getting this to continue. Maybe I wasn't. I'm a coward, refusing to let death affect the performance like it needs to.
I just flip a switch. You can't keep talking in circles. Land on something.
Gather the cast. It's time to tell them. I'm calling it all off.
I'll get him.
This theater will be without. The crew will strip it down to its last ligament. The words stripped to fading echoes. The actors without an audience. If there's purpose, it's unseen, silent, nothing. Dreadful, dreadful nothing. We slip away. We slip away.
You.
Correct.
You had to know I was on stage when you turned the lights off on me.
Don't pretend to know anything about me. You theater people, all make-believe.
Before you blacked me out, you brought this light down on everything but me, and I wasn't even the one talking.
Why would I do a silly thing like that? It's not as though by lighting your face that it communicated how the words weren't about what she said, but about how they affected you. You have no idea how much of a dramatic punch I land when I turn off a light.
You care.
What? You're totally in the dark, dim-witted, unenlightened. You actors with your words, emotions, faces.
And you?
An audience only sees your face because of my lights. They sense emotions because of the tone I create. They hear your words because I understand acoustics.
You care.
About the lighting.
You can't turn everything into a sham. You can't even convince yourself. You care about what lighting means.
Whatever you say.
Incredible.
Everyone, gather around. I know that for someone who says we don't get monologues in real life, I can ramble. So I'll cut to it. Today's been hard. We have stared fate in the face. However you deal with it, it's your business. But one of those bits of fate is death. And that is not up for discussion. It just is. So our performance is over. There is no play now, just talk of death and fate and the point of existence. Get out of here. Joke about it. Cry about it. Monologue, dialogue. Write the next scene yourselves. I wish you all the best. But there is nothing our little performance can do to ease these questions for anyone. So it's all off, all done. I hope you find some peace from all that we've spoken of. Denethor.
I'm sorry if I was a bit much.
I'm sorry if I wasn't enough.
I am sorry for nothing, as I could do no other. All right, I'm locking up. Lights will be out in a moment.
Is it over?
I hope not.
My
My
fault.
fault.
Sorry.
I know what I owe you. I owe you the truth. I would have let truth smother as long as my love was allowed. And you...
I would do whatever was true, even if truth made love into loneliness. Love is empty without truth, but it's also empty the other way around. Is your love true?
It is. Do you truly love me?
I do.
I've memorized it, the poem. Who cares about the paper? It might be a prop, but the words of the poem, they're true, and I truly feel them.
Say them. I will truly listen.
It's called Poem Within a Play. We embrace on stage with our real lips. Our kiss knows its motivation. It asks us if we know, if we are aware. I dare bow my lips and bring them off the stage and kiss you there. To share moments away from the play, the game, the tame touch of the stage kiss. This is more than that. Take this poem, grow it in a garden as a seed. This is the start. My heart is now written in lines. Let it be in books. Let us have cause to bind them. Find them in the forgotten moments of unmemorized monologues, unacted scenes. A poem outside a play. See me now as I am, as I truly am, and love me thus, as I love thee.
This is
Real.
real. I love you. However it works, whether it's written, I love you. After everything's done, if we see an audience, it's not that this wasn't real, it's just...
That it was also a play. Kiss me. Really kiss me. If we're part of something bigger, then it's all been leading to this.
They look longingly at each other and lean in to kiss as the lights come down. It is totally dark before they connect. Blackout. End of Act 2. End of play. Thanks, guys.
That was awesome.
Round of
That was
Round of
fun.
applause.
Thank you so much, David.
And Nate's not
Would you
dead.
believe?
Okay, he's alive.
Yeah.
Nate, you were the
So
perfect
when-
Horatio. Perfect.
It was very, yeah, people were making a lot of comments about the casting. When we put on this play, this was actually the last time the actor who played that character was on stage. His back went out when he fell, like when he dies of the heart attack and like Luke's character catches him, his back went out, so he just left at intermission. So he wasn't there for the bow, and the audience thought that was part of the script. Someone in the audience went, Someone in the audience went, of course he's not there. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I gotta go quick, but I just want to say this was awesome. It's really well written. Good job. It's really
it's
great.
really good.
I have many thoughts about it. Nate, you were excellent. Sherry, everybody was cast so good. Sherry, I was like, this is just Sherry in the play.
Grim was perfect.
Everybody was great. Everybody. I could see everybody.
Everyone. It was really well. Good job on the casting.
Sandy, Cassie,
Dave.
PDK.
Yeah.
That's an old director comment. Is half your work is just casting.
Yeah,
you just
right.
cast the right people, and then it's fine. It figures itself out.
Hi, Luke.
I'd like to point out to everybody that at least most of us have never read any of this before.
You were.
And I thought this was like the first reading we were doing of it. And it wouldn't be
Graham,
live streamed.
you read really well. I would have no idea that was a cold reading for you.
So,
That was cold for me too. I never read. I read it.
I read it once this morning. I read it once through this morning. I read the entire play, but only one time.
so yeah,
I wanted it to be fresh.
Yeah, right. He's still the director. He's still acting like the director. Like,
Yeah.
Love it.
but it
I
was
did.
fun.
It was
Thank
so
you.
much fun. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
that was
great.
that's
Wait,
really good.
on the count of three, we bow then, right? One,
Okay.
2, 3.
Get up.
Wow.
That's very good. That's very good. Are you heading Grim? Okay. Obviously, you didn't read the thing where I was like, what are we talking about? Yeah.
Famous careers
Very
exit.
dramatic.
Unfortunately, I have
Yeah.
to run. I got to go to town. I got I'm on a tight schedule. So
Hey,
thank
Sherry,
you very
get in
much,
touch
David.
soon. Get in touch soon, though, Sherry.
Thank you.
Pardon?
Okay.
Get in touch soon. We need to do something together.
Yes.
Okay.
We do. Bye, everybody.
I'd like to talk just for a few minutes. Sherry, you can go. If people need to go, that's totally cool. I'd just like to have a little chunk of a conversation about some of the themes. So it's funny, Paul, you were especially interested in the connections with the atheist character. And a lot of those lines, when I was writing this character, who even in this situation would not believe that they're in a play, I asked a bunch of friends who were atheists the same question, and I wrote this into the play, which was, if you were making a bowl of alphabet soup, and you spill the soup, how many words, how big of a word or words would have to come together for you to believe that your soup was talking to you? And all of my atheist friends and family all gave the same response. It was 4 different people all gave the same answer, which was no amount of words would convince me something was speaking to me. I would just think I was crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, perfect. That's going in the show.
Yeah. That's how axioms work.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, cool. And I kept on trying to push people, and they were like, no, you're just crazy. It doesn't matter. There's no miracle big enough. It's like,
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. No, it's really well written. It was like I remember my ex-wife was a playwright too, and she got feedback. Like she had one of her plays was selected for a Kennedy Center Award. What one of the reviewers said about her play is that her dialogue sounded like what people would, rather than writing realistic dialogue, she wrote dialogue that sounded like what people would say if everybody were really clever and well educated, which isn't necessary. But she meant that as a compliment, though, because there's a way in which like naturalistic dialogue can be overvalued, and there's something to be said for writing really clever, smart, intelligent dialogue. So, and I think you did that here.
Thank you very much. I am very much, I mean, I wrote a lot more poetry than I have plays. And I mean, like, if you just went word for word, words I've written more in poetry than I've written in scripts. And I don't care about the reality of it. I think it's totally fine to have elevated language and everything. And it's amazing how Shakespeare, which has like a meter and a rhyming scheme, can be, I don't know, can reach something higher and more true than something that is exactly the way a person speaks.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I thought it was really good.
No, that's well said. I really appreciate that, Nate. And again, I think you get it, where it's just like, can it be real while also being like very, very fake? Because
Exactly.
even in the breaking of the fourth wall, I keep on calling attention. So it's very different to see it as an actual performance, because the audience is being told directly that they don't exist.
Right.
No one actually breaks the fourth wall to just look at the audience and do like moments like that. Instead, they keep on breaking the fourth wall by saying there is no audience and acting as though the audience isn't there and telling the audience that for a fact.
Right.
And at the very ending, when we did it, when the lights came down and they don't actually make contact when they kiss, every single night that we did a performance, the audience like sighed, like they were wanting them to kiss so bad, and then it didn't happen. And everyone was like, like it upset them. And I was like, I told you they weren't going to kiss. I told you over and over again that the lights would go out before they make contact, and still people had that response. Let me do a check-in with Cassidy and Sandy. Cassidy, any themes that kind of popped up as well?
No, I liked it a lot. I think I'm still letting it sink in. I read through it briefly before, mostly just my parts, so that I wouldn't mess it up for you. And that kind of gave me a sense, but it was fun to watch the way it interacted. And I think reading some of the scene directions, being, having been in theater stuff and filmmaking, you can see it in your head in a way that, I could see the way that bringing it outside of the realm of the internet could like take it to a whole different level.
Yeah. Someone is asking Nate. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just say it's kind of beautiful to like recognize how simple the set would likely be, yet how deep it could be with just the actors and that sort of play within a play.
Yeah, and we had no money for anything. It was like we spent $20 on the whole thing. It was in what's called a
I was going to say, because like the entire setup of the play is you're just doing blocking for the lighting, so it's like makes it super simple.
Yeah. Tape on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nate, people are someone is asking if you, where was it? Someone was just asking about you as part of the play, and I actually, with the casting in mind, I really wanted you to read for this part because of the health stuff you're going through, but also was like, is this completely insensitive kind of a thing? So Chad is asking how the last line resonated.
No, I definitely not really. I definitely was playing a character. I read through it before, so I could like figure out who the character was, and the character definitely views death differently than I do. So I was for sure acting.
Yeah,
I've certainly. I mean, I've wrestled with my own mortality, but I don't have my view of death is not as pessimistic as the characters is.
So where were you, David, when you wrote this play?
So when I first wrote the play, it was in reaction to another play. Like it was in reaction. So I really like Shakespeare, and my wife and I saw the Tom Stoppard play, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. And that's a really meta piece, but it's ultimately deeply atheistic, I'd say, deeply about there being a lack of meaning. And so instead of responding with like my review of where I think he gets it wrong, instead I started being obsessed with this idea that the meta nature of things, which is so often used to mean nothing has any purpose, could actually be used to, like Nate said, it's overwritten, but it's still true. I want all those meta elements, but it to be true, not false, to reestablish purpose as opposed to just like crapping on it and saying that nothing is worth anything, is what. And then it was while trying to figure out what it was that I found the term, the meta-modern. So I was telling people this was meta-modern a very long time ago because I wrote it 10 years ago. And it was because it reestablishes meaning with all the tropes that are supposed to be postmodern.
Yeah. I can see the inspiration from Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, which is very postmodern. And actually, I do still love that play though.
Oh, it's great! It's wonderful.
I performed parts of it for forensic competitions before too.
It's incredible. It's so well done, and also something ridiculously well written, like where it's trying pretty hard to be clever. Yeah, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
Yeah, I was early on married. Paul, what you should know is that my wife grew up very reformed, and I, when I became a Christian, was much more in the Mennonite camp. And so we meet, and so it's like, is predestination a nice thing or is it terrible, right? So there's that line where the text says, if someone's scheduled to torture you, you're saying you'd be happy about the schedule, not sad about the torture. Right? It's like, why is this
that line?
Yeah. It's a very Calvinist line. Yeah.
Parts of it reminded me of the movie Stranger Than Fiction. Where have you seen that movie?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I have. Yeah, definitely did. Well, and I liked a lot of meta theater, like meta works and meta theater, but there's something about it that has bothered me, that it like makes things worthless. And so I wanted to do, could you do the opposite? Is basically like the question I'm trying to solve here.
Yeah. I loved it. That was a lot of fun. And, I try to say yes to almost everything I can. And then it's the day before, it's like, oh gosh, I got all this stuff to do. I got to read this play. And why did I say yes to this thing? But then once we got going, I was glad I said yes to it. So.
Good. Thank you.
Usually the way it goes with me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for attending. I want to kind of check in with Sandy and then Grim, and then I think we'll go unless people have other stuff they kind of want to talk about. Sandy?
Everybody's talking about reading the play. I read maybe half of the first act. I skimmed quickly to the end of the first act, and I didn't let myself read any more than that because I didn't want to know how it ended. Somebody had written early in the group chat planning this that they liked how it ended, and I'm like, I don't want to know. So I think I love reading, and reading's different than memorizing or, getting ready to read your lines, just simply reading them. I like things that are in the moment. So I kind of wanted to just, trust you and read. Other than that, I'll have to rewatch this to actually make sense of some of my thoughts. But I really liked where the way that you were playing with all the different viewpoints and emotions. Does remind me of like bits and pieces of it remind me of this is going to sound stupid, but so I lost Jack in 2021 and my mom died in 2022. And then my ex-husband died last year in February. So practically 3 years in a row, I've lost somebody. that was close to me in one respect or another. And so I was watching how all the different, because every single one of them hit me differently, or like the separation, staying was harder than separation. Separation was harder than death. Everything was kind of like with my ex, it's, you captured so many different reactions. I was glad I hadn't read the second half.
Well, and there's little bits about death that are written into the play that are my own personal experiences, which is I saw my ex-girlfriend's grandfather like 2 minutes after he died. And I was just like trying to explain it to people because it was just like, you have no conception of how dead someone looks when they just died. Like his hands were like this, and his mouth was open and his eyes were rolled back, and it looked like his soul was pulled out of him. And it was the most grotesque thing I had ever seen. And I was trying to explain it to people, and I was just like, he was just so fucking dead. And I didn't know how to put it into any other words. And that's the explanation of what that experience is like. And it's, the character says, like, I can't do that. People wouldn't let that happen on stage and be okay with it. They'd just be so mortified. Like, you have to cut away. You kind of have to look away in order for people, like the audience, just to be okay and to move on.
Yeah, that would be a weird thing. When people tell you they look like wax, they're lying. I mean, that's probably the closest you can get, but it isn't even remotely close, because wax has too much life in it. Like it's a sheen, it's a something. When my grandfather, I lost 3 grandparents within 6 months when I was 12. The first to go was my dad's dad. And I remember they made me go into the hospital and look at it, my dad and his sister. And it was bizarre. Like, no, he wasn't the first to go, actually, was he? Actually, no. He was the last of the 3 to go. That's so funny, but that really struck me. Each loss hits in a different way. But I already said that. But yeah, death looks...
I appreciate it. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you.
There's another story in there that I wondered if came from you, because the story had a little too much specificity, and I thought this has got to be from his life. So, I
mean, it's a lot of me. We'll just say that it's different versions of my father. Like when I was growing up, my dad was one of the characters that I asked about the Super Bowl, right? Like I was an atheist for a period of time, and like, there's a little bit of all the characters and interactions in that stuff that have in one way or another really happened, despite how overwritten it all is.
How many plays have you written?
I don't know, like around 10, probably, maybe more, but I think 10 ish.
How many?
That's the only one that's actually been performed.
Oh, okay.
It's the only one that's actually. Oh no, sorry. There was another one that I wrote that was I did in high school.
We know you have a phone call, Sandy.
Hello.
Put Sandy on mute. That's like,
why? What prompted you to want to do it this way? After being in the corner for a while, and there are conversations about breaking the fourth wall, it's kind of reappeared in my head after conversations about metamodernism, because I was like, I actually wrote a metamodern piece, and there was all these I'm friends with Matt C, and he saying stuff like, where's the art that our community is engaging in, not just like thinky talky, but actually like dramatic pieces. And I realized that like 2014, when I was trying to understand a lot of, like when I first wrote some of this stuff, I was beginning to watch some of the Jordan Peterson
stuff that was just on TVO at that time. Like he had not exploded at all. So but I knew some of it just from being a Canadian, which is kind of odd. So there was a bunch of overlaps with the community, and it just felt like the right time, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, I thought your timing was great. I thought it's a great project. I'm super glad I said yes. I just got this. I got this note from Bethel, and I think it's, as we were going through it, I was thinking, I'm really glad we're doing this for exactly those reasons that Matt noted. I got this. Bethel picked this up. She said, I found a sad comment while I was flipping through the Daily Wire stuff. This was left on the episode where Jordan eats dinner with Spencer Clavin in Athens. One of the most painful frustrations about these conversations is the inability to actually participate in them. The fact that they are dinner scenes is an especially apropos metaphor. In recent years, I completed my master's degree in philosophy, mainly because I thought perhaps then people would be willing to have conversations with me about the big questions. I am finding that is not at all the case. The harder I studied, the less and less anyone wanted to have a conversation with me. Now I am reduced to watching videos like this one and writing in my journal. If you watch this video after having not eaten all day, you will get a sense of what I mean. I am the street urchin with his nose pressed to the window, watching two learned people inside the house glut themselves on a feast of intellect and the soul. I can see the food, I can even smell it, and I imagine its taste on my tongue, but alas, it only increases the grumbling of my stomach. So I just
Yeah.
what I regularly think about, okay, what am I doing? What are we doing? And Grizz, you were so earlier on this than most, and you too, Nate and Cassidy, that the purpose of all of this is so that we get to play. So that, and I haven't done anything like this since high school. I really enjoyed it in high school, but just life went on, et cetera, et cetera. So, and I think, why we do it, why there's a flotilla, this is why we do it. Cause I hear that guy and I think, dude, you don't need 1 million people watching to make it worthwhile. And I thought elements of your play, that a little portion where you're talking about, would you do this if there was an audience? I really thought of what we're doing in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Nate, you just unmuted yourself, so I think you.
I was just gonna. Paul was talking about doing it in high school. It's like in high school, I was I was a competitive platform speaker and debater, and used to make fun of the theater kids mercilessly. But then I ended up doing it in college. So
you were really just jealous.
Apparently so. Yes, I really was just jealous. Yeah. It was funny watching the kids who competed in the theatrical events at forensic tournaments, the way they acted when they won an award. I used to make fun of it, right? Because they would all celebrate together and they would be super emotional and they would hug and embrace and get all carried away. And a debater or an orator or an extemporaneous speaker, when we would get an award, we would walk up like the universe owed it to us and display very little emotion. It was just like you couldn't get more opposite reactions.
Yeah. Well,
I think...
sorry, go ahead, Cassidy.
No, you go first.
Paul, with that, it was very interesting to be doing this play because I workshopped it, so it wasn't written alone. So one of the things that I found was that people would come forward and I got to have these conversations with my friends by presenting them with this. And part of the purpose of the sword fights, because the sword fights and the romantic stuff was this idea that my wife had that it can't just be thinky talky. And she would use this metaphor of dirt and roses, dirt and flowers, which I think I spoke of before on a different stream, which is the ideas, the themes of a play. These are these flowers, but they have to be rooted in things that are dirty, sex, violence, that kind of thing. And we talked about it and we were like, we can get people to watch and laugh and enjoy themselves sitting for an hour and a half, just concentrating about death and the purpose of life. If we make it funny, if we make them root for the romantic couple, all these things. And it became like a principle that was within it. And it was interesting because none of the actors were religious at all. My wife and I were the only people who were Christians within the whole kind of bit. And it was like, can we make these themes and these ideas engaging enough that people who don't believe what I believe still finds it meaningful and will sometimes even inadvertently kind of admit that. So originally, the way I wrote it, the lights went out and there was no curtain call. And the actor said, no, we have to have a curtain call. And we talked about it thematically. And I was like, that's actually perfect for me because I believe that there is a curtain call. I believe that there is meaning that we all will face an audience if you like. And so, yeah, and they kind of were like, that's what's needed for this. And they weren't even religious and like affirmed some of the beliefs that I have because of my Christian background. Grim, you haven't said anything yet, so welcome back.
Well, I just came back. I think it's because like there's pieces of me the character spoke to that are all riled up now that have to express themselves. And I'm just gonna say I like that we did this. I especially thought that Luke and Cassidy were doing a great job with the parts. But as this tech person, if you're going to be doing these, and I think we should do more things like this in the TLC community, if you're going to be doing these sorts of things, then like the person wielding the StreamYard, and if you're interested, there's a referral link in my live stream to get StreamYards, that could do more of the on-stage, off-stage things. And because like
to make us go away. Yeah.
That's like why I started turning my camera off and stuff when besides other reasons, but like I thought that like only the people that were on stage had their cameras on would be good for that sort of thing. And that since I got to play tech, I thought it was appropriate for me to go out to say those sorts of things before I disappear again.
No, I think you're very right because there is limitations on us doing it in this form, just because of like this is meant to be a play. It's not meant to be a reading or anything like that. So I appreciate that in there.
Like I think if it's valid and fun to try to experiment with the transition of form, but that we can lean more into the trend, like the blending of them together with the powers of StreamYard's referral links.
Yeah, there actually is a second play that I would like to do. I have not written this other one but it is 25 it's like 20 or 30 characters are in it. But it is the most TLC play imaginable. I already talked to Nate about it. It's called The Last Days of Judas Iscariot. And it is a courtroom drama that takes place in purgatory, where a lawyer wants God to reconsider the case of one Judas Iscariot to let him into heaven.
His appeal. The appeal process. Nice.
So the witnesses are like disciples, and Sigmund Freud is brought up to determine whether or not, for expert testimony, that's right. There's Caiaphas the elder is that like it's very bizarre. It's a bizarre thing, and everyone swears like truckers. Yeah, Saint Monica swears like you would not believe in this show. But it also has his idea. It's amazing. She's ghetto fabulous because she's from North Africa, guys. But his view, the author's view of hell, is that it's C.S. Lewis. It's locked from the inside. So the last thing Judas wants is actually to go to heaven. And it ends with an argument between Judas and Jesus. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece, but it's like 30 people. It would have to, and it's a long play too. It's like 3 hours long. We'd have to do it on Grail Country.
All right, thanks,
Well, I'd
everybody.
be happy to have it. David, you read Mikhail Bulgakov's The Master and Margarita?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay. You might want to read it. There's some resonances there.
Yeah.
So.
I'll consider.
All right,
Graham
gentle
just
people.
disappeared
Yeah,
again.
I think we'll call it there. Thank you so much, everyone, for
Yeah.
participating and
All right.
for interacting. Thanks for everyone for watching.
All right.
See y'all around.
One love.
Bye-bye.